Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, Week 9 Touchdown Picks. Let's talk about it, but first I want to make an announcement. YouTube Shorts was supposed to go to a 3-minute version instead of a 1-minute version, and I thought my account had made the change, made the rollover, so I'd been posting what I thought were shorts, which were actually showing up as full-length videos, and I apologize if you were getting alerts for things that you didn't want to, or you were thinking I was publishing an actual thought-out video and it was just me sitting on the toilet recording with a filter over my face. So my apologies. I will try to be careful about the shorts until I know YouTube has it figured out on their end, because they've misled me. Here's the data, and it is what it is. It's like a patchwork, a beautiful, chaotic, color by number, if you will. Last week, this is a very important thing, so I would ask for you to sit for 30 seconds and listen to this before you fast forward to find the games. Darkwing Duck It Up, a guy who has commented before on my videos, someone who I do not know but have a lot of respect for just based on the 2 comments he's left me, because I think he has a lot going on up here and I respect that. He says, "Hey man, I commented on a previous video expressing skepticism about putting effort into game logging TDs to find an edge. It seems your primary goal isn't necessarily to win at the actual activity, but rather create content about your experience doing the activity, which is chill, no static, as long as it's fun for you. So this may or may not be helpful input, but have you considered a more market-based approach? Originating anything related to the NFL is very challenging, and doing so without price sensitivity seems to usually end poorly." So what he is basically saying is, we are fighting an uphill battle handicapping these games, trying to use data, and a very small sample size worth of data, to make predictions in the coming weeks, right? And so he is suggesting, when he's talking about market-based approach, he is talking about finding books that are sharp, okay? Typically, people will look at books that have no touchdown scored lines. I believe Pinnacle, maybe Bookmaker, I know Fliff has it, but I wouldn't trust them as sharp. Looking at those books who provide no touchdown lines, and then seeing if there are any books offering yes on a player that is positive EV, compared to the books who are sharp or offering these no lines. And here's the deal. He is probably correct. In fact, I know he's correct that handicapping these are an uphill battle. I do not necessarily believe with 100% certainty that the touchdown market is efficient at all, like anyway, right? I don't know if we can say, okay, Pinnacle is sharp, they give us a no line, Saquon Barkley not to score is -110, you can get him to score at +120. Maybe that's a bad example because you'd probably take that guy at that number, but the point is, I don't know if touchdowns, just like I don't know if home runs can be priced fairly. I don't know. The bottom line is this. I respect what he's saying. I think his way is probably wiser in the long run, but he's right. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this because people have enjoyed this type of content, this type of data. So just understand, guys, that this is not a money printer, okay? There it is. So what can you expect? I kind of liked last week, and maybe you guys did not. I liked just talking about these games organically and not giving you guys picks. And maybe that makes me a loser. Maybe that makes you not want to watch these videos. I would rather bring you horses to water and let you guys drink, okay? I'm not drinking your water. So what can you expect moving forward? Data that may or may not be helpful, okay? And I'm going to tell you why in this video. I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate to my own video, to traditionally what we do on here for week 9, because I want to show you kind of the thought process of Darkwing Duck It Up. I don't know. Either way, interesting name. Darkwing Duck It Up. Yeah. So let's just talk about it. Okay. Houston and Jacksonville, or Houston and Jets. Sorry. Okay. If we just look at this, it looks pretty average. Both of these teams average offensively, average defensively. Maybe Houston is poor at the wide receiver position, allowing those touchdowns. And I actually think looking at defenses is probably better than looking at offenses. Defensive tendencies tend to carry over week to week more often than offensive tendencies, because injuries affect offenses more than they affect defenses in terms of production. All right. So I don't see a lot here. If I am, saying that this is the gold standard, that I would necessarily jump all over. So yeah, we'll go ahead and pass through Dallas and Atlanta. Again, nothing in this one is too alarming. But again, guys, we're only looking at a few weeks of data, which is never enough to make actual conclusions in sports betting. So that's the thing, and you may be saying, well, why are you switching up? Why are you put all this effort into this? I just want to be honest. All right. I want to show you guys that I do understand that this is probably not predictive and is more for entertainment. All right. Which it stings a little bit. Like, it hurts to be like, I put all this effort into it and it's probably not useful. But it's such is life, I guess. Surprisingly, Atlanta has allowed 6 defensive touchdowns to first, which is shocking. So maybe you like Dallas to score first. I don't know, to the running back. Who knows? Okay, Miami and Buffalo. So here's a perfect example. Miami has been operating without their starting quarterback for the last 5 weeks. So when you look at this data right here, you may be tempted to say Miami's offense is awful. It's irrelevant. Buffalo's offense is fantastic. Buffalo's going to dominate. Miami may not even score a touchdown. They've only scored 9 touchdowns in 8 weeks. That's horrible. Buffalo's tripled it. This data doesn't tell the whole story on Miami. Okay, is what I'm saying. These numbers don't tell you the context, which is Miami's offense is completely different when Tua's in, right? Look at last week. They scored I think they scored 3 touchdowns, 2 or 3 touchdowns. So, which was almost 30% of what they'd scored all year. So that's why. That's just one example of how this data doesn't tell you the full story. So maybe my role going forward is just to try to encapsulate the whole story for you and give you something there. James Cook, okay? This is what I think it could be used, and this is how I think you should look at this data. Buffalo's running back has not changed all year. James Cook has been healthy. James Cook has been dominant. Yes, they've had some guys like Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, I believe, who have also gotten the end zone. Miami's defense has been bad to the running backs, period, right? Like, nothing is, I don't foresee that changing. So you could maybe argue that because their offense has been so bad, teams have been running more on them to kill clock, and so sometimes when they run more, their running backs score, and so that number is inflated. Like, those are the things that this data does not tell you. It's just something to keep in mind. Las Vegas and Cincinnati. Las Vegas has had a lot of quarterback changes this year, and they're back to Gardner Minshew, which I think should be slightly more productive than Aiden O'Connell, but Devontae Adams was there. Now he's not. They've switched up their running backs multiple weeks. Cincinnati, T. Higgins kind of missing some weeks, and I think that changes the dynamic of the offense. So just something to keep in mind for this game. I realize, I'm sitting here 8 minutes in, and I'm like, is this am I wasting the time? Like, is this just a complete waste of time? Should I stop this video? Should I throw it out? I'm not going to, because I do want to show you guys just the organicness of this beast, if you will. Chargers and Cleveland. Again, Cleveland looked much better with Jameis Winston. In fact, looked night and day compared to a team with Deshaun Watson. They lost Amari Cooper. So how does that change? They've got back Nick Chubb, who's not been a part of this offense. So could this data really be tested or trusted? Probably not. Okay. But the bottom line is the Chargers defense is good. But has the Chargers defense just played teams who lack offensively? Wow, I've become a skeptic of my own work. And maybe that's what growth is, guys. Maybe that's what growth is all about. New England and Tennessee. Drake May. Will he? May he not? Tennessee. Kyle Rudolph. Blast from the past. Minnesota tight end. Mason Rudolph. Will he? Won't he? Will Levis. I think Rudolph is better. They lost DeAndre Hopkins. Tajay Spears has been hurt, right? Like, part of me hurts. Part of me just feels like I cultivated a relationship with someone, and after years of hard work, we're throwing it all away. And sometimes it's necessary to do that. Sometimes it's healing and healthy for someone to get rid of it. Other times it's like, gosh darn it, why did I do all this? Washington and the Giants. Maybe you got something here. Most of these teams have been pretty standard in health. Neighbors has missed some games. Running backs have changed for Washington a little bit, but Brian Robinson seems to be the guy. Defensively, Washington does have a weakness at allowing wide receiver touchdowns, so maybe you want to look at a Jets receiver. Otherwise, maybe just receivers plural in this game. Any jersey they're wearing, throw a receiver. New Orleans and Carolina, Derek Carr comes back, which should help this offense because in the first 2 weeks they looked really good with him. He gets injured and they've looked completely different. So how reliable is this data? Now, I want to show you that the average yards scored on a touchdown for New Orleans is 30, which is green, which means they are one of the top, if not the top team at scoring long touchdowns. You know why? Because they had a guy by the name of Rashid Shaheed, who is now out for the season. So that vertical threat down the field is gone. So I would expect that over the next rest of the season, this green trickles down to a yellow and kind of regresses towards the mean of the other 31 teams, okay? Do you see why I hate myself, okay? Otherwise, yeah, I don't think it's worth, at this point in the video, going through and really pointing out good things. Derrick Henry's good. Denver's defense is good. Has Denver's defense faced a Derrick Henry type? Would I fade Derrick Henry because this is green? No, I wouldn't, okay? So, does history matter as much as the present, right? Is the age-old question that can be applied across a lot of disciplines. Chicago and Arizona. Do with this what you will. I don't have any thoughts about it. Yeah, I have a feeling I don't know what this series is going to be. I'm staring death in the face, and I'm saying, are you going to take me or am I going to take you? I don't know, guys. Philly to score first. Looks pretty good. Jacksonville struggled offensively. They've been pretty poor defensively. I think that could be something that's utilized. I think that there is an angle here. I think that's transferable across weeks. So yeah, I think Jacksonville's receivers could have a good week, and I think Philly's offense could have a good week. And I think that's fine. I think that's how you just have to look at everything within a context of the whole. All right, Seattle and the Rams, right? Oh, the Rams suck. 15 offensive touchdowns. That's red. That's one of the worst in the leagues. Oh my gosh, their receivers are horrible. They don't score with their receivers. Well, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp have been hurt. I would expect, now that those two threats are back, that this number continues to grow and becomes more yellow or green because they have, on paper, a better receiving core than a lot of the NFL teams. And so I would expect that to rear its beautiful head. So there you go. Okay. Do with that what you will. Green Bay and Detroit. I think this is pretty fair and pretty reliable. You can make a conversation about opponents played. Maybe Detroit has faced inferior competition with the likes of Tennessee and things in the weeks past. Put up 50 points on Tennessee, 14 running back touchdowns. Well, do I go Gibbs or do I go Montgomery? That's what you have to decide. So yeah, that is that. Oh boy. Okay, Indy, Minnesota, Sunday Night Football. Oh, but Anthony Richardson's not starting. Joe Flacco's starting. How does that change the data? Well, I don't think Joe Flacco's running it in, so that shouldn't change at all. But maybe their receivers get a little bit of a boost because Flacco is a better passer than is Anthony Richardson. Maybe that hurts Jonathan Taylor's value because the red zone dual threat of Anthony Richardson being able to also run takes, the rushing defensive pressure off of, Anthony Richardson, who's not in there, and puts it more on Jonathan Taylor, right? But does an offense led by Joe Flacco get more red zone opportunities than one led by Anthony Richardson? So maybe Jonathan Taylor does get a boost, right? There's so many things, guys. And I don't know why it's taken me this. I've known it in the back of my head, but secretly, selfishly, I like putting this data out because you guys like it. Okay, but I have to be honest with you. Tampa Bay and Atlanta, I think you guys get the point, okay? However, this is pretty crazy. 6 scored first, 6 allowed first. Night and day there. Do with it what you will. That's it. 2 blue lines. That's our Monday night game. That doesn't feel like Monday night. Is that our Monday night game? Must be. Yeah, it's a Monday night game. Okay. So there you go, guys. Growth. That's what that's the word of the day. We got to be honest, and we have to grow. So do this data what you feel, and don't blindly trust it and rely on it for fact and for locks. All right, price check. Don't just blindly bet these on a certain book. If you have multiple books, look around, try to get the best price. If you're set on starting someone, oh wow, I should take a receiver. Oh wait, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both out. Oh, this data is probably not reliable. It's okay. It's okay. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. And maybe sometime today. I want to make another video because this one was a freaking dud. All right. Bye.